In this video, I'm gonna discuss the difference between living in California versus living in Colorado. You might be in Colorado thinking about moving to California, or you might be in California thinking about moving to Colorado. So I want to give you guys the difference between the two. So stay tuned because I'm gonna give you guys some great information to compare between living in each state. And I'm Ryan King with Keller Williams Integrity down in Cherry Creek, Colorado. And if you guys enjoyed the videos on the different greater area as well as the real estate tips and tricks, please follow me on all social media accounts, Ryan King Real Estate. And you might be moving into the area. And if you are, utilize the number below. Give me a call. Let me help you guys out with that. So in this video, I want to give you guys a great comparison between living in California versus living in Colorado. It's two different states. With me being from California, living there all my life, attending Colorado State, moving back to California after graduating CSU, staying out there for 2 years and moving back to Colorado. I have a great idea on the differences between living in each state. So I just want to give you guys my experience, what I think, the pros and cons to both. And I'm gonna just go straight down and compare the two side by side and kind of give you what's best for this state, what's best for that state, what you get more out of this state and more out of that state. So the first thing I kind of want to discuss is about the economy. California, you're looking at, one of the largest economy in the U.S. versus Colorado, where it's like the #1 economy in the U.S. So you got the biggest versus kind of like the best. Both states offer great job opportunity, but the difference between the two is California, it's a bigger state, so it's going to offer a bit more job opportunities. The job opportunities you have in Colorado is mainly concentrated in this one city or this one area, the Denver metro area. That's where you're going to get most of your job opportunities, and that's where the economy really thrives and live off of. The difference between that and California is that in California you have multiple big cities. You have San Francisco, you have LA, you have San Diego, you also have Sacramento. So San Francisco and Sacramento's up north, LA and San Diego's down, Southern California. So in California, you have the opportunity to go to different areas, so if you like up north better, you have two cities up north that will probably produce a good amount of job opportunities. If you like being in Southern California, you have two cities down there as well. Versus in Colorado, you only have really Denver, the Denver metro area. All these job opportunities concentrated in one area. It can be a great thing and it can be a bad thing. One of the good things about it is okay, I have to kind of move to this area to get great jobs. Or if I live in this area, I have the opportunity all the way around me. And mostly whatever the state has to offer is going to be right here in this area. And it could be a bad thing in the sense of you might not like the area. You might like it a little bit south and away from Denver. But Denver is where the great opportunities mostly are. So both states offer great job opportunities. It's just more so of, do you like a specific area or not? You want to have that choice to be able to move to certain parts of the state and still have opportunity to get a great job. Kind of playing off the job opportunities is California is a way bigger state, bigger population. So that state is way more competitive than you will see in Colorado. When you start in something in California, you got to keep in mind there might be 5 other people down the road trying to start the same thing you are trying to start. So if you want to be somewhere more competitive, where it might push you to be a little bit better, grind a little bit harder, California is going to outweigh Colorado by a lot. The only state I would say that kind of compared to California is in New York. Kind of give you my experience is once we graduated college, and me and my fiance, I told her, hey, we got to move to California. So we decided to move to California. And one of my biggest things and goals I was trying to accomplish with her for us moving to California was to get her to be around more competitive people and push her skills in her industry. And it worked. We was there for 2 years, and within those 2 years, she went from working at Bath and Body Works just as a regular employee to a manager. And then within 6 months got hired with MAC. Within 6 months there, she got a manager position. So she's seen that growth of being around that competitiveness. Now that we're back in Colorado, she's a licensed esthetician and she's self-employed and her own boss. But if you talk to her, a lot of her growth came from when we moved to Sacramento. While in Sacramento, she worked at the Art and Fair Mall. If you guys from Sacramento or know the area, you know about Art and Fair Mall. So she had a variety of different clientele that was there that she learned from, a variety of different trainers she learned from. So it helped her in the long run. So that competitiveness is a big thing and can be a great thing. Some of you guys might not know, but I'm also cook as well. And I'm planning to open up a food truck. So make sure you guys follow Cooking with the Crown if you want to learn a little bit more about that. But so one of the things that I've seen when I was back home, when I started cooking, was that it was a lot of people that I know that was doing the same thing. So it pushed me to do better, to get better, to sharpen my skills, to stand out, because there's a lot of people doing the same thing I'm doing. You got to keep in mind, why do you see all these big tech companies, or just companies period, being created in California, definitely in the Bay Area? There's so much competition that it's crazy. Silicon Valley, Napa Valley. So you got all these great companies being created in this area. And that have to do with a lot of that had to do with competition and having to be the best you can be and sharpening them skills. So when it comes to that competitiveness and bringing the best out of someone, California is that's like number one, period, But the great thing about starting a business in Colorado is competition is kind of low. You can get to a great start. Maybe you don't have the time or the resources to be at the best level you can be at that moment. And you just need to get started, get going, get the ball rolling. So I think Colorado is great for that. You can start something now and then elaborate on it and expand it and make it better and grow it to where you need to be and put in the best skill work within the company. So for me, I see Colorado as a great starting point. California is like them places you got to be on it. You starting off, you got to be on it because there's just so much competition that's there. But one thing that I love that I'm seeing with Colorado is the big migration into Colorado. A lot of people is deciding to up their family and move here. So for me, I think that just brings mostly greatness. I spoke in my last video how the job market is going to be more competitive. The more competition is just going to make you a better person. When you look at Alabama and they winning championships after championships, they play in the SEC, so they playing against other great teams. So when they come across an average team, it's like they so used to playing at a high level. If you're not up there, you ain't gonna be able to hang. So as Colorado grow and more people come in and bring in those businesses and bring more of that competitive and that competition, it's just gonna be a better state. Business gonna be better. You have to be on top of your A game. So that's just gonna make it to where you can't just do the minimum to get by. You got to actually put the work in. Your skill set got to be up to par. So I love seeing the migration of people from out of different states coming into Colorado, because I know what it's going to create. It's going to create a great place, a great competitive state. So let's discuss kind of like the activities or the health of the state. As I mentioned before, Colorado is one of the healthiest states you can come to, you can visit in the U.S., but that doesn't mean California doesn't try to be healthy. You see a lot of vegan stuff. You see so many different restaurants and stores catered to different people. So when it comes to actually being in shape, I'll give that advantage to Colorado. If you love outdoor activities, this is the place to be. So many different mountain towns to visit, trails, bike trails, walking trails. Like I said, every weekend, out in the morning, you see a bunch of people on their bikes just enjoying life. So if you love outdoors and love hiking and all those great things, Colorado wins hands down. I would love to see a little bit more vegan options for my vegan. I'm not vegan, but sometimes you have somebody in town that might be vegan, so you want those options to be able to take them to those restaurants that will serve them or that have what they're looking for. There's plenty of things you can do in California. California is one of those states where it has everything. It snows in certain parts, don't snow in some. You have mountains, you have everything there. Anything you can think of, you can do it there. But as an overall whole, Colorado definitely wins on the outdoor activities. Let's discuss agriculture. That's a big part of our life. And when it comes to agriculture, I would say they're kind of even. A lot of people don't know and don't understand that California agriculture play a huge part. So a lot of things that get grown in California. So they have a huge agriculture environment, and it's definitely present down there in California. But it's also played a big role in Colorado as well. There's a lot of land out here that's getting used for agriculture. As you get away from Denver, if you either north or south, you get to these smaller towns where it's abundance of land, and then what you think they're using it for, they're using it to grow things. So if you're into agriculture, I think you can go with any state. Any state would work out. That plays a big part in both states. So that kind of goes to my next question. If you love that small town feel, Colorado might be the best place for you, just because you will have maybe a little bit more small towns compared to California. I won't say there will be necessarily more, but you'll have a lot to choose from outside of Denver. So Denver is kind of like the main city. Then you have Colorado Springs. So if you're not in Denver or Colorado Springs, for the most part, your town will be a small town. In California, you have those options as well. As I mentioned, California have 4 or 5 major cities within the state. So that means you might be close to a major city. Some people don't want to be close to one at all. They want to be hours away. Colorado would be that place you want to go because Denver is the main city. Then Colorado Springs, you can kind of consider that as well. So those are the 2 places where if you want that city life, that's where you go. Or you want some type of city life, you just be on the outskirts of those cities. But if you not wanting that, you don't want to deal with that at all, you like, hey, I can be hours away from that, go hours away outside of the cities. So you have a lot of those small places where you can go. Let's discuss the food culture between the 2. Without a doubt, California blows Colorado out the water when it comes to the food culture. But like I said, competitive state, higher population. So I would hope that they blow them out the water. We have all these people trying to maybe start a business or maybe just sell some plates on the side to get a little bit of extra money. Cost of living is extremely high out there. So they kind of doing whatever. So you'll see food is a great option for a lot of people. So them starting off with just maybe selling plates out the house turns into food truck turns into a restaurant, So it's like this competitiveness. You got so many people doing so much in every industry. So in the food industry is, it's not easy to get into, but it's kind of easy to start. So you have a different variety of food, and it's more of a diverse state by far. So you have so many different cultures that's well and alive in that state. So you have plenty of food options. You got to come with your best to survive out there. If you go down to LA, look how many food trucks there are down there. If you just go on Instagram, put in food trucks LA or something, hashtag or whatever, you'll see so many food trucks that's located down there in Southern California, Northern California as well, but definitely Southern California. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a page on Instagram of a truck or a restaurant. I'm like, oh my God, this look amazing. And then I look and see where it's located, LA. Or close to LA. So there's a heavy concentration of different restaurants there. So all it does is just go and boost the competition, boost the skill set. And then, like I said, as people start to move into Colorado, you're going to see that here as well. The food scene can be amazing here. I just honestly just think it just taste-wise, it needs to get better. Once it get better taste-wise, more people, more out-of-staters will enjoy it. The environment is great. So like I tell people all the time, it has a great start. It just needs a better tasting environment. So all my natives that's kind of mad or not loving the new migration of people coming into the state, I think you should embrace it and enjoy it, because that means your state just gonna get better. Food just gonna get better. So let's talk about the cost of living between the 2 states. When I hear people in Colorado talk about the cost of living, how it's high, how it's so expensive, I kind of crack up all the time. I am from California, I'm from the Bay Area. You talking about the most expensive area in the US. I'm right outside of San Francisco, California. So when it comes to comparing the 2, California it honestly depends on what part of California you are staying in. Is way more expensive than Colorado. Well, if you in San Francisco, LA is going to be quite more expensive than Colorado versus, Denver. Don't get me wrong. Denver, Colorado it's expensive. It can be high depending on what part of the area you're staying in. It can be high. Trust me, it can. But I feel like you get more bang for your buck in Colorado versus California. Gas prices are way cheaper in Colorado than in California. A lot of the homes, if you're buying a home, a lot of the homes out here in Colorado have basements, or you have that option to add that. California, for the most part, you won't really see a basement like that. And the basements out here in Colorado, it's like a whole nother floor. You maybe have 2 rooms and a huge living room. So I feel like you get way more. I would happily spend the money and the prices that I see in Colorado versus California. As you go deep into the Bay Area, the San Francisco's, the San Jose, you're starting off at $1 million when you're purchasing a home. When you go and search, you need to start at $1 million, because that's where you're going to end up and be over. Denver, you can find areas where you might start off at 4 or 5, so, but the homes are beautiful, brand new builds, or maybe you're looking to rent. If you're renting, some of these apartments or complexes are amazing. They come with great amenities, great location, a lot of them just being built, so you have the option of brand new apartments, complexes. So when it comes to being expensive and the cost of living, California is by far is more expensive. Colorado, you get more bang for your buck. So I would definitely choose Colorado over California for that. And that's probably one of the reasons why I moved back. If I gave myself $100 and went to each state, I will be able to purchase more with my $100 in Colorado versus California. If I was in California, my whole $100 probably would just go to all the gas, depending on what car I'm driving. So Colorado by far is way more better. Even though it is expensive compared to some other states, but you get more bang for your buck, and you feel like you kind of get something that's worth it. And depending on what part of California you are located, expect to spend some money. I remember reading an article where they said if you're located in San Francisco and you make over 6 figures, over $100,000 a year, you still consider low income. That is crazy. That is something that is, leave me speechless. I don't even know what to say about that. I'm making over $100,000 a year. That's well over $8,000 a month, and I'm still considered low income. That means I still probably need some help to survive in this city, in this area. I'm okay. I'm okay. So that's why I always laugh when I hear people say, "Oh, Colorado is very expensive." Yeah, depending on where you're from and what state you're coming in from, or are you from there, you might see the increase of cost of living, but it's still not a California, San Francisco Bay, LA, San Diego. So don't quite throw a fit just yet. You guys are still getting a lot more. And one of the misconceptions I kind of see about Colorado are some of the cities, definitely Aurora, is that it's not safe. That's not true at all. Yes, it does have crime, just like any other city, definitely major cities. So you'll see crime in the biggest, some of the biggest cities, some of the major cities. You have so many different communities in one area. So there's going to be crime, there's going to be things that happen. But it's nothing compared to California, not at all, not even a little bit. Even from New York, Texas, or some of these other states where they experience a great deal of crime, you won't really see that here in Colorado. Yes, you're going to see things going to happen, but if you look at the crime rate, it's nowhere compared to some of these crime infested cities or these places where things happen 100%. A lot of things happen here, but it's so much better, and I feel so way more safe out here in Colorado versus California. And that also depends on what part of California you are located. And as people reach out to me, that's kind of one of the things they always ask. It's like, how's the crime rate and the safety? And I always tell them it's not bad, at all. It's nothing really you should be worried too much about. And I always ask them, what state are you coming from? Where are you used to? What city do you live in? So I can let you know, like, hey, if you live in blah, 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 or one of these cities, this is nothing. You're okay. And the thing about here is, if you're looking for it, it will find you. If you want to find it, you can go find it. If you just want to live your life and stay out of all of that, definitely can do that. There's so many areas and places that's so nice and just out the way. You ain't got to deal with none of that. So the safety of Colorado is high. You don't got to worry about too much. These are some great states that I'm comparing to each other. Colorado is beautiful. California is beautiful. California 1.5 times bigger than Colorado, so bigger population. You go to each state for certain things. If you're kind of trying to get in the industry, you might be heading to California. You know, if it's film or makeup or whatever, acting, technology, whatever it is. So California have a great deal of these different industries that people are moving there for. But Colorado is a great place. Maybe you want to start over. Maybe you want to raise a family. Maybe you like the mountains. You love skiing. You love biking. So it's like each state has this great thing that they're known for. I love both states. I lived in both states for a great amount of time. I spent 5+ years in Colorado, and I spent over 20-something years, 23 years in California. I love both states. I will be back and forth between the two. I have my real estate license in the state of California, in the state of Colorado. I love it. Love both of them. When I'm looking for some quiet, you know, being around some great people, nice people, for breath of fresh air, I'm heading to Colorado. That's where I'm relaxed. That's where I'm chill. I'm just soaking in life. If I want a little bit more competitiveness, or if I'm looking for a little faster pace of life, California is where I'd be heading. You go through different cycles in your life. Depending on what cycle you are on at that time, you might be in a different place. So if you can, you know, this one of the things I'm trying to do is have residence in both places, or have a home in both places, visit both places. I love both states. So California and Colorado, both have great opportunities. Both serve their purposes. So if diversity is one of the biggest things I'm looking at, or trying to choose between the two. Diversity is one of the biggest things, and that's going to be a big factor. Me choosing between the two states, California is probably where we want to be. By far, California is more diverse. You have so many different cultures here. There's a huge Asian culture in California, Pacific Islanders. There's so many different people there. It's not even a comparison. It's not even close. So culture or diversity is something that's very important to you. California will by far be that place. You can find that in kind of throughout California. No matter where you're choosing to live, if it's northern or southern or maybe central, you will find diversity there. Colorado is not necessarily the same thing. So if you're looking for diversity, you're going to head to Denver and then Aurora as well. Aurora to me is probably the most diverse city. It's way smaller than Denver, but you'll see a bunch of different cultures there. So if diversity is top of your list, California is where you need to be, is where you should be. If you are heading to Colorado, hey, what's the best places to go? If this is at the top of my list, Denver, living in Denver, and living in Aurora, Colorado. That's the two cities where you want to be. As you start heading away from Denver, either north or south, diversity start to decline very rapidly. You will not see multiple cultures. When I went to CSU down in Fort Collins, Colorado, there still wasn't a lot of diversity. And you would kind of think, since it's a major college, that you will see diversity, and you didn't. Denver and Aurora is where you want to be if you're located in Colorado. California, it honestly doesn't matter where you at. You can find a city or town that's diverse. As you get into the bigger cities, you're going to see more diversity. As you get deep into the Bay Area, plenty of different people. But even on the outskirts, you still see, in certain towns like where I'm from, it's still so many different cultures that's in that city. So you don't have to be in the major city to get diversity in different cultures. Versus in Colorado, you have to. You got to be in the bigger city. You got to be in the Denver metro area for the most part. Because as you start heading north and south from Denver, rapid decline. If you're looking for entertainment, leisure, got to go with California. California, like I said, 4 major cities. So that's so many different areas where you can choose to participate in different things. Well, if it comes to outdoor activities, if you mainly want to be outdoor, Colorado's going to be that place. You got so many different skiing resorts. You got so many different activities you can do outside. But if you're looking for entertainment, as far as like maybe comedy shows or concerts and things of that sort, California, because you have 4 different major cities there that you can choose from, or you can go to, depending on what they're hosting. For San Francisco and Sacramento, it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours from each other. So in California terms, that's not far. That's pretty close, you know. So if something is being held in Sacramento, California, or something being held in San Francisco, California, if you live in the opposite city, you can still drive and participate in those things in the other city. You have San Jose as well, that's located in the Bay Area. And for LA, you have a bunch of things that happen in LA. You know, you got Hollywood and all that stuff. So that's like a major stop, a must stop for a lot of entertainment things. Depending on what you consider entertainment for you and what you like, you can choose between the two. Outdoors, Colorado, more media and that sorts. California, you know, you want to see stars. A lot of people go to California, to LA to see stars and celebrities. A lot of people that want to get their big break in acting, they head down to LA because that's where you're going to see a lot of different people in that industry. Or maybe your industry involves caring or servicing these people in this acting industry or people that's in the entertainment industry. So this is where you go. That's where you go head to. So it honestly just depends on what you like and what you're trying to accomplish. So let's talk about the weather. If you like experiencing all the seasons, Colorado is the place you want to be. You're going to get the snow. You're going to get a little bit of heat in the summer. You're going to get rain. You're going to get hailstorms. You're going to get thunderstorms. You're going to get, you know, it's breezy, it's cold, it's nice. You'll get everything in this state. As I mentioned before, one of the things that you might not like is you might get this all in 1 week. So if you like different weather and being able to be in a hot climate or a hot situation once, and then you like when it cool down and be cold, Colorado is definitely for you. If you're looking for more of a consistent basis, California is probably better for you. Depending on where you live at in California, it most likely won't snow. So it do snow in California in certain places, but for the most part, you might be living in California, you never experience snow. So if you don't like the snow, that's a place you need to consider. If you like it to be kind of warm or maybe you like the heat, you know, certain parts of California you need to relocate to. Sacramento is one of the places where it get hot, 100 degrees throughout the summer. So that's more of your style. You know, hey, Sacramento is probably a place you need to look at. But a lot of people don't know, in northern Colorado, about 300 days out the year, you get some type of sunshine. So Colorado is not that place where a lot of people, I feel, think it is, where it just snow all day or extremely cold. Yes, it get extremely cold. It might get below 0 degrees. You know, you're going to get that maybe a pile of snow a couple days in a row, but it's nothing that you can't handle. It's nothing that extremely overpowering or overbearing you can't deal with. Me personally, I love Colorado weather. It can be very tricky at times. You don't know what to prepare for, but you know, I like to see some snow here and there. I like being in the cold. Heat is not really my thing. So mostly throughout the year, it's a little bit more breezy. And let's talk about transportation. If you maybe don't own a car, are you looking to relocate to somewhere where you can jump on the train or catch a taxi, whatever? California is going to be that state. Colorado do have the light rail in the Denver metro area, but that's kind of it. In California, you have BART, you have buses, you have just about everything. That's in the Bay Area. Not quite sure what they have down in LA, but I'm pretty sure they got something very similar. So to me, if you're looking to maybe ditch your car, not have a car, and do without, California probably better for you because it is more of a congested state. So they have to have these type of public transportations. There's got to be in place for people to survive. A lot of times what you see is with San Francisco being so expensive, you see people living on the outskirts of San Francisco and taking BART and buses into San Francisco to go to work. So public transportation is a must in California, not so in Colorado. You more so would need a car in Colorado to kind of get around. California, you can get away with not having one. But you also got to keep in mind, we do have Uber now. Uber, Lyft, all those, car services. So, hey, you can also use those. When it comes to that friendliness, Colorado blows California out the water. California came not even in the same boat. The individuals here, beyond friendly. You'll definitely start up a conversation with a stranger. Depending on where you're located in California, that might not be an option. Don't get me wrong. Back home, I'm not saying that people are rude, but you have a better chance of running into a rude individual in California versus Colorado. You have a better chance of connecting with a stranger in Colorado versus California. So if you're friendly, love meeting new people and being around new people and having conversation and maybe kind of educating yourself through talking to different people, Colorado is definitely that place. California, you have that, but when you visit Colorado, you're like, man, these people here, can't compare it to. They love to see people win. I've seen different ethnic groups help other ethnic groups, or as they open to different cultures and things like that. So when it comes to friendliness, Colorado, it's not even a comparison. And a great deal of reason why California might be not as friendly as a Colorado is because, like I said, you got so many different individuals here in this state. It's a way bigger state in Colorado. So you got so many different cultures, different people. Different cultures might believe in a certain way of greeting or a certain aspect of life compared to another. So you have so many different people, and that can contribute to why they are not as friendly as a Colorado. And you are your environment, So if you're surrounded more by friendly people, that's the way you're going to act, and that's how you was raised. So I definitely think the congestion, the high population, concentration of different cultures kind of plays a part. And like I said, it's a faster paced lifestyle. So people are always on the move, always on the go. Sometimes they don't stop and enjoy life. It's kind of hard when you're in California, when you're living in this place where it's very expensive and there's so much going on. There you have it. I gave you guys the difference between living in California versus living in Colorado. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, got a lot out of it. If you guys have any questions in regard to real estate, please utilize the number below. Once again, I'm Ryan King with Keller Williams Integrity down in Cherry Creek, Colorado.